Here we go. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. It's Tuesday, the 9th of January. Special call today. We have a special guest, a platinum, a newly most recent rank advanced platinum from the United Kingdom, Louise Coe, who is joining us on the call today. I've asked her to join as my special guest, where we can talk together this morning, today, about rank advancements. You'll notice from the calls that particularly Mike and I, in our conversations with you, have been speaking a lot about is as we put our plans together for this year, we need to be thinking in the context of rank advancements and how to build our business with that in mind. So what better way to start the year and kind of kick off some of these weekly leadership calls and to get someone that has recently done that and learn a little bit from what they've done to get there. What worked, what didn't, what lessons they've had, and so on. So, Louise, thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm gonna start off, if that's all right, and just ask a few questions. Some people may or may not know you on this call, and of course it's being recorded, so there'll be a wider audience that'll get to know you as well. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Louise? How long you've been in Nikken and so on?
Okay, well, just thank you, Ben, for inviting me. And I kind of feel, frankly, if I can do platinum, anybody can. So, you know, I don't think I'm an example of best practice other than I've been involved for many years with Nikken. So I first discovered Nikken when I was invited to a talk. I used to go to this Pilates class, so I was invited to this talk. And the only reason I went was because I follow this astrology, Japanese 9-star key astrology. And I thought I need to go because you need to be open to what comes to you. That's why I went. But I immediately got that this could help my son, actually, because he had been suffering throughout his childhood from breathing difficulties and hospitalized. Am I allowed to say his condition?
Sure.
Oh, asthma, yeah. So he had very intense problems. And I just immediately got intuitively that this would help him because he just have to sleep in it. He wouldn't have to do anything. And it had the most remarkable impact on him. It did take 1.5 years to become completely drug-free because it's a kind of long-term chronic body condition. But he just never looked back, and that's down to Nikken because I tried all sorts of other things as alongside until that. So that was very powerful. And I also saw that there was a business behind it, which kind of I found intriguing and interesting, and have been involved in various degrees, you know, waving.
Well, let's talk about that, and if you could speak just a little louder, please.
Louder, yes, sorry.
But let's talk about that. You said you joined a while back, and there's been these varying degrees of intensity in your commitment. Could you, towards the business, tell us about that? Because I think there's a lot of people that resonates with.
Well, I think I made a very deep commitment to Nikken.
We can barely hear you, Louise. Please speak louder.
This is one of my problems, is I'm a very soft-spoken, so I'll shout. Yeah, I feel I made a really profound commitment to the company through the experience that my son had, because that's a life changer as a mother. But then I went to this bigger event in New Orleans, and that was just blew my mind, literally, with the information. I'm told it's one of the most powerful events that ever happened, and it sort of gets inside you. So I kind of felt it's part of me, Nikken, but then due to my just life getting in the way, I didn't ever kind of I learned a lot, you know. I have learned a lot in my confidence, you know. I think it's sometimes I'm very thrilled that Julie's putting on a new call now for women in Nikken, addressing those issues around confidence and feeling able to create that freedom, which doesn't always come easily to women. So I think that's partly why I've been a bit slow.
Yeah. So you've had a number of different, I guess, challenges with confidence. You've been in for a while. You've had a few attempts at going. What made it different this year? Because You did
I
it.
think, yeah, I think I just made a decision. And there's an interesting difference, I think, between, you say what you want to do, and then the question is, are you interested in that, or are you committed to that? And I think that shift happened for me this year, that I just thought, oh, for goodness sake, let's just do this. And so I kind of became more focused. But again, it's also around who joins your team. I think I've been very fortunate to have great people join, and then you're working together. But I also think it's because of the changes that you introduced, Ben, that it's made it possible. That's just made all the difference. So we've now got this sort of organic hybrid business that makes it possible for people like me to achieve that in a way it just was so hard before.
Yeah, thank you. I know you've touched on a couple of points that I think are really important. Thank you for the reference to the comp plan. I think that the compensation plan that we have really does help us, doesn't it?
Oh gosh, yes.
A much more even level playing field for so many people that join the business. But you mentioned a couple of points there that I think are interesting. One is you went to New Orleans. You went to a big event, and it got under your skin. Yeah,
totally.
It became a part of you. And I think I want to just touch on that just a little bit longer, if that's all right, and just kind of emphasize that before we move on, because what you'll notice, everyone, as we look out into 2018, is we do have a solid structure and plan and rhythm of events that we've got lined up with our teams, haven't we? We're emphasizing this, and I think the fact that Louise is coming in and saying, what helped to get this under my skin was an event where I could get together with a lot of other Nikken people and experience it, not just hear about it or read about it or watch about it, but experience it. I think that's important. So keep that in mind. If you're sat on the fence right now about some of these events that we've got coming up, Salt Lake City in just a couple of weeks, San Francisco in April, we've got my event, of course, in July as well in Orlando, Toronto, San Antonio. We've got a lot of different events that are significant in helping us to achieve our goals in 2018.
Well, and we're looking to create our own, aren't we, Ben, in November here?
Yeah, and of course, we're going to have an event in London in the UK in November as well, which I think will be very exciting for people that want to choose to come along to that. So I apologize, of all the people, to not have their phone switched off. So the other thing that you mentioned, Louise, which I think was critical, is your team.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about this, or tell everyone, what role did your team play in ensuring that this rank advancement happened?
Oh, that was really well. It basically, Nikki and John Edgell are in my team, signed to my daughter, who's also in Nikken, which is obviously lovely for me to have my daughter. I've also got 2 grandchildren so we've got a sort of Nikken family thing going on. Everyone's got their sleep systems. My grandson wears his little necklace and drinks this Yaga and greens, limes and everything. So we've got that's such a very touching thing to have the benefits of Nikken for the wider family. Anyway, Nikki Edgell and John, it began because we basically could see that they could achieve gold, and really my focus was all about that and helping them and working with them. And then we were really fortunate that we had the waterfall. It wasn't so much on offer, it was just about to go up significantly, but effectively we wanted to reach out to as many people as possible. So we started to do a morning call together.
Yeah.
Every morning, 8:45 in the morning, we'd go on a Zoom together, whoever could go on. And that really raised the energy that we were working together. And Carmen Versticom, who's in the team, she and Nikki would lead these meditations, actually. So it's an inner journey we would take every morning, and just support each other in achieving. We each had a mini goal, like we're going to sell 10 waterfalls. So we had our plan, and then that segued into the sleep system offer. So we were very fortunate to have that to bring to people. And so it was halfway through November, and it was Nikki herself who said to me, do you know, I think you should look at your platinum, because I was just going on about their gold. And then within days, it just happened with my other team and my own activity, boom. And then, of course, they went on and went platinum as well. So it was a massive month. But prior to that, we'd had a long lead up of working together. And so that's one of the things I was going to say, especially if you could. Can you hear me okay? I'm sorry about my voice.
Yeah, I can hear you good. I can hear you good.
Oh, okay. So I was going to say that obviously building close working relationships with your team is key, and finding those people who you can really run with, but also with your upline. I mean, we've always had huge support from Julie Tara, and then yourself. The fact you moved to the UK very obligingly, and then were prepared to come down and work with us, that just made all the difference, having that sort of Royal Diamond energy with us. But the other thing I think is really key is, yes, you're Royal Diamonds and you're all masters of what you do, but I think it's a bit like, I was thinking it's a bit like if you're sewing or something, you make your own little patchwork cushion or whatever piece of embroidery, and you do your own. So I think that's why we're empowering ourselves locally in making our own sort of slightly messy, but our own energy. And that's, I think, what's making the difference. It's about empowerment. And then you call on your upline.
Yeah.
Rather than, I don't know how, can you see the slight difference there? And I think you've come to our events and seen
I have.
Slightly chaotic ways, but it's who we are.
Yeah, I think, gosh, I mean, you've touched on a number of different things here that I think are very important, and I want to restate them if that's okay, before we move on, because I found it so easy to sit on some of these calls and get a nugget of gold that slips through your fingers because it just comes out conversationally in the dialogue, and you can miss it. So I want to reiterate just a couple of points that you said that are really important. You know, the rank advancement happened, you know, primarily, you said you've been working with your team for a long time, but you saw someone in your team that you felt could rank advance to gold, and your attention was on them. And your activity was to help build them and to help them achieve their goals. And I think that's a really critical point to emphasize. As we're looking to rank advance, we're really helping others to do that. Our rank advancement happens as a consequence. It's like that principle, isn't it, when they say that you don't pursue success, it ensues. Yeah, and it's the same with happiness. You don't pursue happiness, it ensues. You follow and do what is right, and the consequence comes as a result, which is all the good stuff. And I think that's true here. And that then leads into, if we are starting from scratch, finding people where our message, if we're helping them to achieve their goals, needs to be helping them to identify their goals. And those that want to latch on, that want to run, that have something to run for, then you find that you can run with them. You think, I can see it in them. And we can all see it in them in reality, yeah? I'll give you an unusual comparison. Before I was married, I was enthusiastic. I've always been enthusiastic for married life and having my own family and what have you. And I was dating a girl that was a lovely girl that ticked a lot of boxes. But if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Can I say that appropriately? She ticked a lot of boxes. If you were to say, what am I looking for in a wife or in a spouse or what have you? Tick, 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 tick. But I wasn't feeling it. And so what I would do is I'd go to my other friends and my older siblings that were married, and I'd say to them, how do you know when you're in love? How do you know, right? And they would tell me all their different reasons. Well, this happens, blah, blah, blah. And then I went out with a girl after this one. That as you can guess, didn't work out. Then I went out with a girl, and she didn't tick all those different boxes that I had in my head, but I fell overwhelmingly in love. And I didn't need to ask the question anymore. Yeah. The question became irrelevant. Yeah. Now that's an unusual comparison to make, but when you've got someone that's a business partner that is in that space, you don't need to ask the question. Too many times, we can spend our time. I chatted with a lady today who said she spent years with some people that have potential, but they're not showing it. And she's getting frustrated at why she's not moving forward in her business. But she's spending years with people that have potential. Yeah. And I think it's important that when we're setting people are setting goals, and when we're working with our team and we can see people are in that space, listen to your heart. Yeah. You'll find that you won't need to ask certain questions because you'll see it, you'll feel it, the energy is there, and you move forward. And like you said, you've been working with Nikki and John for some time, but you could see there, Louise, that this is going to happen for them. They're in that space right now, and I think this is their month. And it was interesting how it flipped, wasn't it? That all of a sudden they're saying, "Wait a second, Louise, take a look at your own distributorship.
I know.
You could end up getting to platinum in just a second." So what a great way that the tables turn. Yeah, and that to me is one of.
And I think you're going to talk with Nikki another time, because it'd be interesting to see how she brings her story of that whole time we worked together.
Yeah. Now tell me just a little bit, and she is going to come on one of these calls shortly, and I've given them full warning.
Yeah, I want to hear.
But tell us, we've developed a bit of a schedule of these monthly meetings. We've been talking about them as launch partners, of course, and you and I and Nikki and John have had these monthly meetings taking place, and of course you've had your bigger events that have been going on long before then as well. But tell us a little bit about how you feel these have contributed to your focus or your business, and just in general, what role have they played?
Oh, well, I think it's really almost essential to have that rhythm, because it gives you a sort of hook to invite people to come. Even if they don't come, you've got a conversation going. So there's that aspect. But then, I mean, even Nikki and John, they discovered Niken through these talks my daughter and me were doing on bone health. That's how that happened. And it's just having something to, in fact, we found so few people came to the talk. We almost said, well, we don't actually need to do the talk. We'll just say we do talks every fortnight. And people, because it's just a conversation. But the actual events, I think, were great for the team as well, because it works for everybody to have that focus to invite people to come. And then Nikki and me worked really closely. Again, that comes back to the sort of homegrown. We worked really closely on how to create that schedule that worked for us in the UK, because we have a different way of responding.
Yeah, you've really personalized your approach, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've really taken time to customize it to ways that make you feel comfortable in your own delivery and in your own skin in that space.
And so, we never have anyone speak for more than 10 minutes, even a Royal Diamond. We break it up all the time, and I think that really helps to find something and a variety of people and little snippets of film, so it sort of has its story through the day. But we're always saying as well, because I went on this day workshop on how to sell something within an event, and what you have to do, you have to keep saying, and you can buy these things today, we've got it at the back. So you're just making it easy for people, where if you don't even mention that, they can have a lovely day, but they don't realize. So we do say that about 4 times through the day. But then we stopped doing those to focus, frankly, on building our front line with your coming down. So we've got a much smaller event now that kind of works more for us. We got a bit selfish around the outcomes, and that helped.
Yeah, good. And
it's a lot of work.
It is. Yeah, it is a lot of work to organize those monthly meetings. but the audience is growing. Yeah. And what's interesting as well is, when we first started, small numbers, and it was a little chaotic as well, wasn't it? As we got out, kind of found our feet, and we've found a good rhythm and flow, and in regards to the agenda, not just the schedule, but in identifying how the agenda works. I don't think it's a one size fits all. I think it's a matter of finding your feet, getting a flow, and finding a rhythm, and evaluating after these meetings what has worked, what hasn't worked, what to do different, and how to do it better. Because each of us have kind of sat together afterwards, haven't we, and said, this worked, this didn't, let's do this next time. And that's been helpful.
But Nikki also, she can talk more about this, but she tweaked the in-home as well to make it a party. So we don't stand there and pontificate on, and people come in, but she can, that's more her thing that she's developed, but that is also good.
So moving on to, you're a platinum now. You've got a new title.
I know.
And there's often perceptions, isn't there, that go out with these titles, of how bold and experienced and wonderful all these different leaders are with ranks and titles and so on. What advice would you give to someone that's wanting to rank advance right now, having just done it yourself?
Okay.
What advice would you give?
Well, again, it's all about making that decision and commitment, and then just looking at who you have with you, and if you don't have the right people, find the people, basically, because you cannot do that on your own. And then I mean, for me, I was thinking, because I kind of knew you were going to ask me something like this, so I was thinking what I did. And by chance, I moved house, and I feel so grateful for this flat I'm in. I mean, it's just perfect, and it's a minor miracle. And so this gratitude has sort of spilled out into my life. And I think that gratitude is they say that abundance grows in a grateful heart. And so I didn't kind of mean it, but I feel so grateful that it's rayed into everything, and that shifts my energy, is one thing. And then the other thing I did was tapping, because I did that to go gold. And then I met a friend, and I was saying, I just really want to get this done. And then I said to her, we were talking about it, and I said, well, I went platinum through tapping, and it was a Freudian slip, because I meant to say I went gold through tapping. So I thought, okay, well, I obviously need to do that. Do you know the tapping where you go, even though I'm absolutely hopeless, I love myself, sort of thing. And there's a lot on the YouTube. You can get free tapping guidance, and it just does work. So I mean, basically, more generally, I'd say take on a practice specifically for your goal, whatever. It doesn't have to be tapping. There's hundreds of different prayer.
The principle there, prayer, meditation, mindfulness, tapping. There's a number of different exercises or routines that can just help us center ourselves, focus on our goals, and have the right mindset.
And then work out the activity that you love and can be doing. And then, because you did a sat-nav analogy on your call, and it's like, I want to go to Edinburgh, and so you'll put it in your sat-nav. But the bit you didn't say, which I think is so interesting, is you cannot just sit in the driveway with the sat-nav. You have to switch on and you have to start driving. So
true.
You can't, it's just literally, and give up perfection is essential, because it is a mess, and that's okay. That's a good one.
I think that's really good advice, because I'm a perfectionist, and it is
it's a killer.
It's a weakness of mine. It causes me pain. It causes me anguish. This perfectionism, and it can also lead to all sorts of things, like procrastination. I need to get in better shape. I know it requires me to go to the gym 4 days a week. I'm not ready for that, so I will do nothing, because I have to be all or nothing. That's what perfectionism says, isn't it? I need to rank advance to diamond. I'm a platinum right now. I know that my business looks like this. It's going to require all of that. I'm not sure if I can give that right now, so I will do nothing. See how perfectionism can actually have the reverse impact on your business. Yeah. So it's really important. I love that you say that don't be afraid to let the journey be a little messy, and to be a little muddled. I heard someone once say, I may not have walked the straight and narrow path, but I crossed it as many times as I could. And what they meant by that was it's not easy to move consistently, persistently on the direction that we should. And it's very rare for us to do that with perfection. Yeah. So as we are looking to rank advance, I just think this is wonderful counsel that you've given Louise, is turn the engine on, start moving forward. And if you're a little messy along the way, be okay with it.
But then if the sat nav, if you lose your attention and go down a cul-de-sac, it redirects you. So I think it is so important, because I do really believe that Nikken does deliver on its promise. It's just that we may not do the right activity or enough. So because I have that belief and knowing, then I have no hesitation in inviting people to join me, because it's there for it's such a great opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that in mind, tell me how you feel now about being a platinum.
I highly recommend it. I think it's great. It's had more of an effect on me than I expected.
Yeah,
because I sort of feel more confident, and but I do feel I don't have the mastery like the Royal Diamonds. There's definitely a mastery they achieve, and you only get there by Royal Diamond, or in your case through being president. You've got a life in the industry.
Yeah.
So I feel I have a lot to learn and a lot more to get better at. I have many failings, but and that's the journey to diamond. I think it is that's why I love Nikken. I think self-development in a box is
it is called. Yeah, that's what I love about it too. It's the story of humans being more is actually realized as we apply ourselves to the business.
Yeah,
we become more, don't we? Because of necessity, we are confronted with challenges and setbacks, opposition and inspiration and opportunity, and all of these things as we apply ourselves to the business, and it gives us the chance to become more as a result. We've come up to the end of our time, Louise. Again, just one last.
That went quickly.
Yeah, it went very quickly. But one last thought that I'd just like to reiterate again, just kind of re-emphasize what you just said, is it's surprising how much your confidence has grown as a consequence of the rank advancement.
Yes.
And we become by doing. We don't become by reading. We become by doing. And I think that's really, really important. And leadership is something that we develop within us. It's a process. It's not an event, and it's not a title. People can have a title and they won't have influence. They've got to be the right person. And I think that's really important for each of us to know, that in order for us to become platinums, to become diamonds, to become royal diamonds, it's a process of doing so that we can become. And I love that. And I'm glad that your confidence is growing. I've seen it. It's been such a thrill for me in this short time that I've been in the field working with you, to see the journey, to be a part of it. Just a little bit, and to see the confidence grow. And to me, the most rewarding part of this business is when you see someone rank advance and you just see them light up, and you see them catch the vision, and then they start to
we get closer to our dreams.
Yeah, and that is just it's what it's all about, isn't it? So ladies and gentlemen, a big thank you, Louise. Any last thoughts? Any final comment?
Just a big thank you, to everybody upline. There's Julie, Mike, you, Veronica,
Yeah,
Bernadette, all those great people, and but more especially our team, who
mm.
are legendary. And I can't name them all, or it'd be like the Oscars.
Yeah.
I've got this bottle of champagne I'm waiting
Yeah, excellent. There we
to
go.
have with the
Yeah.
right people. So
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, this
Yay.
is what the business is about. You see why we talk about rank advancement? You see how we can move forward there. We didn't get the chance to stress it, but I just want to maybe just add this last point really quickly. Louise did mention, along with talking about finding people in a team that want it, and we talked about having that feeling for those people, is also, she did emphasize, using water and sleep in their campaigns, in their business meetings, as a product strategy, to help move the product. And people within the team had smaller goals. I'm going to move 10 units of this. I'm going to move 10 units of that. Helping them focus on those higher ticket items like sleep and water, help them to do better, get some real good money in their pocket quickly. It helps them work towards some real common goals as well. But it all that played a really important part in that rank advancement as well, because everyone was moving those products and rank advancements started coming left, right, and center. And like Louise said, all of a sudden it's watch your back. There's platinum on it, and that was kind of a neat experience to see. And Nikki and John Edgell, who will be coming on a future call, went from silver to gold, from gold to platinum in a month because of that mindset. So we'll share more of their story later. But
that's all about intention and hard work. So
yeah, absolutely.
Key,
yeah.
Really key.
So thank you all very much. I hope this has been helpful. We will get it uploaded soon, and of course share it with your team. See if this might be just a prompt for them to say, okay, this year let's do something different, and let's get out there and do it. So love you very much, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Thank
Take
you.
care.